Hey everybody! Today I'm gonna have just a little bit of a Thanksgiving weekend vlog, and I'm gonna show you guys some projects I'm working on. I know I don't have the camera on me, the camera's on the table because I'm gonna be laying out some craft stuff to show you guys. First, I'm just gonna talk about my Thanksgiving weekend and how it's going. It is a really low-key Thanksgiving weekend. I'm doing not much of anything. My husband worked Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Wednesday he worked late. He didn't do his regular schedule in his regular part of town. He took over for a coworker on the other side of town. So he didn't get home until a little bit later Wednesday. And he was off Thursday and Friday. It's late Friday night, wee hours Saturday morning currently. He works the Renaissance Fair near our city in this part of Texas as a seasonal part-time job. So that runs October and November. This is the closing weekend, their big Celtic Christmas holiday special weekend, and it's a 3-day weekend. They're open on Black Friday. So he really only had Thanksgiving Day off, and we really didn't have a lot of plans. Our plans were to take it easy, tidy up around the house a little, hang the Christmas lights outside, and have Thanksgiving dinner. Well, we'd intended to be going to a restaurant for Thanksgiving dinner anyway. My husband's grandmother is currently living just blocks from us in a senior citizen apartment complex. And she's going to be moving away in a couple weeks. She's going to be moving to the West Coast to be close to other family members. She's going to be moving near my sister-in-law who lives in the Pacific Northwest, and then she also has family on the West Coast, so she's going farther down the West Coast, so it's going to be easier for her to be around the rest of the family. But where she lives, she's just really not a fan of the food and the social life there, so she wanted to get out to a restaurant for Thanksgiving, and she wanted a traditional Thanksgiving meal. So where we live, there weren't a whole lot of choices. There's Luby's, which was a choice, Golden Corral, which was a choice, but not at the top of the list. And then there's a home-style country cooking. It's a local chain to the east and south of Houston area called Kelly's Country Cooking. And Kelly's has been around for a long time. They're very popular. If you want just good home-style, wholesome cooking, Kelly's has it. And they always do a special holiday meal at Thanksgiving and also, I believe, Christmas. So we agreed we were just going to go there. We weren't going to try to go to a fancy, steak and prime rib buffet, and we weren't going to mess with that. We were just going to have a nice, wholesome, home-style meal at a family restaurant near our house. And we were going to do that around 5:30, 6 o'clock. So when it was time to get ready to go eat, my husband and I are getting ready. I'm dressed. I have my dress on. I have my makeup on. My hair's done. I am literally putting my shoes on and the phone rings. And it's his grandma saying, I can't come. I gotta take a rain check. We're gonna have to see each other just sometime before I move. And turns out she's not feeling good. She's sick at her stomach. She's been really battling a lot of problems with her stomach. And she said, I just feel too sick to go out to eat. So, okay, and so I'm just gonna stay in. Well, we didn't plan to cook. We didn't have anything to cook. I mean, we could have probably thrown a meal together, but it wouldn't have been Thanksgiving. And we wanted to have something special, and we really didn't want to make a mess in the kitchen because he had to leave to go to work the Renaissance Festival before dawn this morning. So we decided to go on out without her. We're just going to go to Kelly's ourselves. So we went and had a really, really good traditional home-cooked style Thanksgiving meal. They had a special where you got a portion of ham, a portion of turkey and dressing, and then rolls, and then you could pick 3 sides. And I picked green beans, candied yams, and broccoli, cheese and rice casserole. The candied yams, incredible, just awesome. And their green beans, they didn't have green bean casserole, but the green beans are really well seasoned. I love green beans. They're one of my favorite vegetables. And then their broccoli rice casserole is really good because they use fresh broccoli to make it. So it's not that mushy frozen broccoli that some places use. It's just nice big pieces of fresh broccoli in it. And it's all, made there in the restaurant. And so it was amazing. And ended up bringing a good amount of my food home and had it today, but didn't even have room for pumpkin pie or pecan pie or apple pie or any pie. So I considered the candied yams my dessert. And then we went driving around just to gawk at the Black Friday crowds. There's a Wal Mart a few blocks from our house, and we just cruised up past it, and people were parked across the street and walking over to Walmart, and this was around 6:15. I think the Black Friday special started at 6 p.m. on Christmas Day, or I'm sorry, on Thanksgiving Day. So it was right when all the doorbusters started, and seriously, there were people parking at the businesses across the street that were all closed for the holiday and walking across the road to get to the Walmart. And so we had to gawk at the shoppers, and then we took a little drive. I decided I was really thirsty. It's actually kind of warm here. So we found a Jack in the Box, and I got myself a big ol' iced tea, and my husband got a cup of coffee. And we wanted to see if there were any Christmas lights out, because that's one of our huge things, is to go look at Christmas lights. And we had heard that there was a neighborhood that already had a lot of Christmas lights up, so we went through it. We could tell there were a lot of decorations out, but they weren't turned on. And we came home, took it easy, worked around the house. He went on to bed, and then he left at like 5 o'clock this morning to get up to the festival. So he worked there all day today, and he's going to be working there tomorrow and working there Sunday. And it's just me at home by myself. My friend is coming Sunday to visit me. Sunday, I think, in the afternoon, and we're going to spend the afternoon and evening together and cook something. I've got something really cool to cook if I think he'll want it. It's seafood Veracruz, which he may or may not want. If not, I can always grill some cheese sandwiches and I'll eat the seafood Veracruz. But I didn't do any Black Friday shopping today. I don't have my car. It's in the shop. And I didn't want to tag along with any friends because I hurt my knee earlier in the week. I was stepping off of a step at the library and felt something go pop. And it's just been alternately swelling and hurting off and on. So I've been taking ibuprofen, icing it, using heating pad, doing whatever I think I can. And I didn't want to risk hurting it again with all the walking and the standing. And then my back, I also have serious back problems to begin with. So Black Friday lines just aren't something I can really do very well. And I have a wheelchair. I can have people push me in, but I wasn't going to ask someone to push me in a wheelchair on Black Friday. That would have been just impossible. So, and I also don't really do much Black Friday shopping. I have a lot of social anxiety around huge crowds most of the time, and for me, being around huge crowds like that most of the time is very draining and stressful. There's a few people I can be out in crowds with and I'm okay, but none of them were around. My husband's out of town working the Renaissance Festival. My best friend was working. He's working, Friday and Saturday. And he's against Black Friday to begin with, so he wouldn't have taken me anywhere. And I have a few other friends that if they would have gone Black Friday shopping today, they were going to be there in line for the doorbusters, and they would have been gone all day, and I couldn't have handled it physically or mentally. So I just decided to stay in. I did some shopping on Amazon. I had an Amazon gift card voucher that I needed to use, and I got my husband's Christmas present, and I got my best friend, the guy that I talk about's Christmas present, and I got myself a present. And something I was wanting on my wish list that was really cheap. So I got a super buy on it. And that was the little bit of Black Friday shopping I did, was a little bit of internet shopping. And that's it. I don't have a whole lot of people to buy Christmas gifts for. My in-laws really like getting gift cards. They're retired and they live in a small house out in the country, so they don't really need a whole lot of stuff. But, you know, gift cards to go out and do fun stuff and dine out, that's the kind of things that they're into. So I'll just probably find out where they're enjoying going lately and get them some gift cards for that. And that's really it. You know, we really don't have a lot of people we exchange gifts with, so I get off lucky on the Christmas shopping. And I decided to just take it easy this weekend and just my knee alternately, you know, icing it, putting ointment on it and babying it, and watching videos on YouTube, watching movies on TV, taking naps, getting up, not following a schedule. I got 2 craft projects I'm working on. I'm gonna go ahead and show them to you guys. The first one I'm doing for my friend, the guy that isn't into Black Friday. In fact, he's actually a proponent of International or whatever Buy Nothing Day. So I know if I do go Black Friday shopping, he's gonna probably give me the hairy eyeball. But somebody gave him the Star Wars blanket. And I'm gonna lay this out on the table so you can kind of see. So it's this really cool fleece Star Wars blanket, like a comic book cover. Really cool. Or like a movie poster. No, comic book cover. Well, whoever bought him this blanket didn't realize that it was a kit. They thought it was a blanket. They thought they were giving him a fleece blanket. Well, it turns out it's one of those kits where you pin it together and you cut the little slits and you tie them together. Well, me being the crafty one, he brought it over last weekend and said, hey, can you make this for me? Can you assemble this for me? Sure. I mean, these things are really simple to do. I've done them before. It's just tedious work. What I'll probably do is put a movie on tomorrow and just sit in front of the TV and work on it once I get it all pinned and cut. I'm going to do it a little bit differently. I don't like it when it's just tied because I found that they come untied in the washer and dryer sometimes and they're not really secure. I watched a YouTube tutorial, several YouTube tutorials, where they cut the strips, made a slit in them, and kind of looped them together almost like a braid. So it has a really neat secure edge that doesn't come undone. And I've got to decide how, because this has got lines to cut, I've got to look at it and decide how I'm going to do it. I think what I'm going to do is instead of cutting every line, I'm going to cut every other line and then cut the slit here to braid it through. And then when you get to the end, you just tie off your last piece and I'm going to stitch it down. So I'll get this done for him, and we already talked tonight and he's like, you are going to have it done for me by Sunday, right? I'm like, yep, I'll have it done for you by Sunday. I think I can get it done tomorrow. So it's just a kind of a busy work project, something for me to do. And that way he'll have himself his blanket. And like I said, I don't know who got it for him, but he told me his brother got it for him. And I guess the guy saw it, you know, they have these in Walmart and other places, and I guess he just saw it and thought, oh cool, Star Wars blanket, and didn't realize it was a craft kit. So I'll get it done. It's no big thing. I'll hook a friend up. So that's one project to do. The other project is a crochet project I've been working on. And it is a shawl. And this is one that is ridiculously popular on the internet, on Ravelry and on YouTube. And I'm going to go ahead and move this Star Wars blanket out of the way a little bit more so I can spread this shawl out better. It is called the Virus Shawl. V-I-R-U-S, the Virus Shawl. And that is a pretty shawl. This is about halfway done. the yarn. Let me get the label out. It is, see, I'm using my Etsy or my Ipsy bag as a crochet bag. Okay. So the yarn is Red Heart Boutique Unforgettable. The colorway that I'm using on this shawl is Polo. And I picked it because it had such gorgeous jewel tones, darker jewel tones. It's got this beautiful kind of grass green that goes into like a golden or mustard yellow. And, you know, it goes on into like a plum and into like a burgundy, then a rust, then an orange, and gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. And if you can see the sheen on this yarn, it's just beautiful and shiny and soft and silky. An acrylic yarn, and it's a budget yarn. And you get so much on a skein. You get, what do you get on this? You get, pardon me, I know it says, you get 280 yards, okay? 280 yards, they consider it a medium weight, but I think it's a little bit finer than worsted. I'm using a pretty small hook. I'm using a 3.5 millimeter, an E/4 hook, and I'll talk a little bit more about the yarn in a minute, but first I'm going to talk about the pattern. I would call this, I've heard it called a beginner crochet pattern, and technically there's nothing in this pattern that a beginner probably couldn't do, but you have to be able to follow along and follow a chart and keep count of things. So I'm going to call it an intermediate pattern. All it is, there's 3 different stitches. There's chains, single crochets, and double crochets, and that is all that is in this thing. And I followed a set of tutorials on YouTube, and you just look up Virus Shawl tutorials, and it's like, I want to say 5, and it walks you through getting to about here. And then there's a chart. There's not great written instructions, I don't think, but this is a charted pattern, okay? It really helps to be able to read a chart, a crochet pattern chart. Okay, this is where you start. So you start and work your way, you're working your way out and out. So the way that the pattern goes, you do a row, this is a row, and then you come back and you do a row, and that's a row, and this is how you build your shawl. It gets a little bit longer on each end and a little bit longer in the middle with each row. The tutorial walks you through this chart, okay? And then all it is a matter of repeating these 4 rows. You repeat these last 4 rows, 8, 9, 10, and 11, until the shawl is as long and as big as you want it. So I am going to make this shawl fingertip to fingertip. And I have a pretty big wingspan because I'm tall. I'm not 100% sure what's going to happen with this shawl. Originally it was supposed to be made for a friend of mine to give as a gift, but I don't know if she wants to do that now. So I think I may be keeping this shawl, which is all the better because I like the colors anyway. I'm just going to make it to where it's the length and the size I would want it, and then I'm going to steam block it. I'm going to pin it down on my blocking board. It's 100% acrylic, and I'm going to use my shark steamer with the upholstery wand and just steam it to relax the stitches, get it all nice and smooth. And then I'm going to put a border on it because where it grows, you have a chain. And I think this is a little bit flimsy here. I'm afraid that would get caught on something, so I'm going to make a border. And there's somebody else who's done a border tutorial for this shawl. So the pattern, It's really intuitive. Once you get past all the tutorials and you start doing those repeats of those 4 rows, it's very intuitive to know where your next stitch is going to go. So the only thing you have to be careful of is that you're doing the right thing on the right row. Like let's say this row you're doing a double crochet and a chain, a double crochet. You got to make sure you get that chain between your stitches. The row above it, there is no chain between your stitches. So you have to kind of make sure you know what row you're doing, and then just keep count. And I find, like I said, I find it's a very intuitive pattern, and I really like it. The yarn, I'm going to go ahead and give the yarn a little bit of a critique. The yarn is gorgeous. You know, it's shiny, it's silky, and it has the most beautiful colors and colorways. It comes in probably at least a dozen colorways. I mean, there's pastels, there's brights, there's blues, there's kind of neutrals, you name it, there's a colorway. And they're all beautiful colorways, and the yarn is silky and shiny and luxurious, and it's got a beautiful drape, and it's soft, and it just feels nice to touch. 3 problems. Problem number 1, it is splitty. So you have to be kind of mindful, especially when you're working with a small hook, that you're not splitting these things. Critique number 2, there's a lot of knots. This yarn tends to be knotty. And I haven't found a yarn in this skein, but the skein that I used before it, I found 3 freaking knots in it. And also because it's so drapey and fluid and silky, it's near impossible to roll into a ball, or at least for me to get started rolling in a ball. So I haven't been rolling it into a ball, which is probably why I just keep finding the knots, because if I were to roll it into a ball and find the knots, I'd go ahead and cut them out and splice it and not have to deal with it. The yarn is a little bit difficult to work with, but I think the colors that you get, the softness, the sheen, the drape, makes it worth dealing with a little bit of hassle. It's a little bit of princessy yarn. It's kind of spoiled. But if you can get past that, it's a great yarn to work with. And like I said, the pattern, it looks so much more advanced than it is, with all these really cool scallops. And especially when you use the self-striping yarn, it looks like you're doing so much more effort with it. And in reality, it's just rows and rows and rows of just single double crochets and chains. So it's time consuming in that you make a big project, but it goes fast. And as long as you're not forgetting where you are in the pattern, it's a pretty simple one. So I don't think I'm going to get the shawl finished this week. This is like 2 weeks of work that I had laid out. And I don't really work on it that much at a time. I'll do maybe 3 or 4 rows at a time and put it down. I generally take it to use at the crochet group that I go to at the town library. But it will be done by Christmas. The Star Wars blanket, however, I promised him I'd have it for him by Sunday. So this is tomorrow. Tomorrow, the Star Wars blanket. And that's my project. That's my weekend. My husband gets home late Sunday night. It's the last night, so they're going to have to do some shutdown. He's probably going to be getting back around, gosh, 1 in the morning. So he's probably going to be going straight to bed. So I've got all weekend to myself, and it's just going to be me. When my friend comes over, you know, we'll hang out a little bit, but it's just a low-key, kind of quiet Thanksgiving weekend to myself, where I can just have the house to myself, sleep when I want to sleep, eat when I want to eat, work on projects when I want to work on them. The only thing I have to do, like I'm obligated to do, is this blanket tomorrow. As long as I get it done by Sunday afternoon, I'm good. And that is my Thanksgiving. That's how it's going. And that's what I'm up to. Hopefully you guys all had really good Thanksgivings and really good Thanksgiving weekends. So I will see you guys again soon. Bye.